recording, so that's okay. So basically, if you have access to putting your camera on, I would love it if you did. I would love to be able to see your face, simply because for this particular exercise, it's kind of dependent on that. So it's a little woo-woo, but I want to just give it a try. Now, this is a really, really good exercise for someone who has struggled with diets in the past, who has struggled with yo-yoing, maybe getting some results, but then gaining the weight back, or finding that, they can't really find a solution for them. And it was an exercise she had us do, and actually it was quite powerful. And you're just gonna have to trust me on it a little bit. So basically what I want you guys to do is I want you to close your eyes. Yeah, I'll tell you when to open them again, but just close your eyes for me. And I want you to envision that you're laying in your bed, your comfy, big, cozy bed, fresh sheets. It's a wonderful, wonderful morning. You're in bed. And you pull away the covers and you see a body that is one that you've worked really hard for, and one that you have dreamed about having. It's, whatever that looks like to you. And then you get up and you start your day, the day that, you've always wished could be easy for you. And maybe you start off by going to check the scale. You feel really lean, you feel really good, you feel energetic, you wake up so easily. And then you go and step on the scale and you see a number there that you're so excited to see. You're proud of that number. You're so eager to start your day. And now you're excited to dive into your closet, to find something to wear. Maybe you're going to work. Maybe you're hanging out with family today. Maybe you've got a big day on the town. But find that dream outfit, that goal outfit you've been wanting to wear. Envision yourself putting it on. What does it feel like? Does it feel really rewarding to be wearing that outfit that you've been really dying to put on? Perhaps it's something that's been in your closet forever and you've been dreaming of wearing it again. Heck, maybe it's your wedding dress. Who knows? You want to feel good in this outfit. So then you go about your day. You go on the way to work, you're positive, you have a good mindset, and you're feeling so proud of yourself. You ate a really good, hearty breakfast. Maybe you had a giant piece of toast and some eggs, but you had a really good plate at breakfast. You followed the to be mindset and you feel energized and ready to go for the day, cup of coffee in hand. And you get to work or get to where you're going, and the people around you are really sensing a positive vibe. They're really sensing that you've changed and you're inspiring the people around you. People want to be around you. They're asking you what you've been doing because you look healthy. You're enjoying your meals. You're enjoying every bite, and you're still able to have a glass of wine. You're still able to, enjoy dessert. So maybe later that evening, a significant other or someone special to you in your life is taking you out for a fancy dinner, a fancy night celebrating all of your success. And you get to put on this gorgeous dress or this gorgeous outfit that you've always wanted to wear. And you put it on and you go to dinner and you feel so proud of yourself. And not only do you go to dinner and you order, maybe a delicious steak. And I'm thinking of something that I love. I love a good steak and a ton of roasted vegetables, and they're crunchy and they're delicious and they're so satisfying. And at the end, you share a dessert with a friend. You share that dessert and you enjoy every single bite of it, and you're proud of yourself and you can enjoy it. There's no guilt associated with it. And then you go to bed that night knowing that you had a good day. You stuck to your gut, you stuck to the principles that you've learned, and you felt amazing. And you know darn well that when you wake up tomorrow, it's going to be a weight loss day, that you had a really successful day, and that it was all worth it. Every decision that you made, every bite that you took was worth it. And I want you to open your eyes. Were you able to envision what that looked like for you? What that outfit was, what those meals looked like, what the restaurant was. And I want you to carry that feeling with you, because truly everything that we're doing in our nutrition choices, in our fitness choices, it's all mindset, 100% mindset. So if you ever have a moment of weakness or a day where you feel like you're struggling, I want you to have that reflection in your head. I want you to just slow down, sit down, put your two hands on the wheel with your water bottle and have a drink of water. And I want you to think, what do I want? What is my goal? Because it's so much more than that number, right? Because that number is one way that we can track our success and track our weight loss. But that has a ripple effect that makes us feel a certain way. Our clothes fit differently. Meal times have a different emotional reaction than they used to. Social settings are completely different. So just realize that we are in control of that mindset. And it takes us sometimes a minute to slow down, because if we're busy people and we're on the go and we're stressed out, we're tired, we're sad, we're whatever emotion you want to pick, there's usually a natural gravitation towards mindless eating. So if we just slow our mind a little bit, we can usually gain control. So that's the last little exercise I have for y'all, but I want to share with you what I've learned today as far as tips and tricks. And it was really nice because I actually got to like ask her questions and she answered my question. Actually, my question was, how do I actually go about doing this visualization exercise? I'm kind of nervous to do it, so I did it. So I'll let her know that I was able to do it. Okay, so let's start off with the basics. If you feel like you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, you're like, oh, I'm just like so overwhelmed. Like I've fallen off track. I can't do this. It's basic, but there's science behind everything she tells us to do. So go back to the two bunnies, and we all know what they are, right? We all know the two bunnies. So water first and veggies most. And that's not just something they tell us to do because it might work or, we'll give it a shot. There's a lot of science put behind this, and there's a lot of research put behind this. If you take, let's say, a 16-ounce bottle of water, and I only have a small one here, and then I have my other 16-ounce. Let's say this bottle of water, it's heavy in your hand, right? It's heavy. It takes up space in your tummy. So, and if you were to hold up the same amount, let's say you had a Starburst like this, that has the same amount of calories. It's, let's say, about 4 or 5 endives, so like a bunch of lettuce, about the same amount of calories. Which is going to fill your tummy more? The one that has the most mass. And vegetables will always have the most mass. So that's why we have veggies most. It fills us up, fills our belly. And if you look at, when you chew up and digest potato chips, for example, it takes up like the smallest little bit in your tummy, but it's full of fat, full of calories, and it's leaving you hungry because your belly's still empty, but your body's absorbing all that crap. Whereas if you fill your belly up with like a delicious Greek salad with some feta that's about like the same amount of calories as a bag of potato chips, you'll be so much more satisfied, and you won't feel the urge to keep going back to potato chips or going back to the pantry, going back to the freezer, whatever you're doing and grazing. Go back to the basics. They're simple, but they work for a reason. Water first, veggies most. And the one that people struggle with the most is tracking. And if I had you do an audit of your To Be Mindset tracker, there might be some days you missed, right? And I'm guilty of it too, totally. But when we track what we're eating, we're significantly more mindful of that food. And she'll always say, if you bite it, write it. If you, if you drink it, ink it. All these things, if you nibble it, scribble it, you need to write it down, because you know what? Those chocolate chips that you're sneaking out of the pantry every little bit, every now and then, they add up. They add up. So you know what? Write down, I had 7 dark chocolate chips. And I actually did right before we came on this call, because I told Alex I need something sweet. So I took mini chocolate chips out of the pantry, and I'm like, I had 7. So that's what I'm writing down. I'm good. I had my sweet kick and I'm fine. So write it down. If you nibble it, scribble it, because sometimes you'll look back in your tracker and think, well, my meals were all fine. I ate to the plated methods, but you forgot to write down that you had maybe just half of a cookie at work that someone brought, a tray that someone brought, or, your kid didn't finish her French fries, so you just finished them up because you don't want to waste food. Or you had, a bite of this or a lick of that or a taste of this. It needs to go in your tracker, because if you associate every time you eat with writing that down, you're more likely to be like, ooh, you know what? I really don't want to write that down, so I don't think I'm going to eat that. I really don't want to look at that and see, later on being like, oh, yeah, I know exactly where I went wrong. So if you carry that tracker with you, you're way more likely to actually use it. And I'm just going to scroll down here. We all know 16 ounces of water before each meal. And fun fact, those ounces don't count towards your half the amount, or the amount you should be drinking in a day. That should be totally separate, which I didn't know. That is a fun fact. So I had been counting those 16 ounces before meals as my total ounces of water. Turns out, not the case. So, and I'm glad to see everyone's grabbing their water bottles. Great. Happy. Perfect. Because oftentimes we're more thirsty than we are hungry. And by the amount of water that we drink decreases the amount that we eat. And this goes for before snacks too. So not just your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you feel like you're ready for a snack, and snacking's okay. I snack too, but it's good to have that 16 ounces of water beforehand, because sometimes we're just dehydrated or we're just thirsty, and that's all we need to do. Lots of times people say, well, I don't like water. It doesn't taste good to me. It's gross. And I have tap water at home, so I get that. I don't have a nice water cooler or filter. So I can get that when water doesn't taste that great. then go to the water bar portion of your To Be Mindset recipe book. They have like, you can do cucumber water or mint water, or add just like a tea bag into your water bottle and chill it. That's a great way to make kind of like an iced tea. Maybe you'll do herbs, cucumbers, lemons, whatever you're going to do to spice up your water. And there's actually some like 0-calorie like flavorings that you can get that aren't full of preservatives or artificial stuff. There's some that are stevia based, like liquid stevia, and you can use to flavor your water and use that more as a treat, but it's a really good way to spice up your water for sure. I recommend drinking about 5 to 10 minutes before each meal. Not any sooner than that, because it kind of goes through us a little bit quicker. So 5 to 10 minutes, and that'll give you a sensation of fullness, a sensation of calmness, and it'll kind of relax your tummy, because if you're getting like grumbly tummy, it'll just settle it down a little bit. And if you work out a lot, if you are nursing or are pregnant, you should drink more water. Because for nursing and pregnant women, you're creating more. You're creating milk, you're creating life. And then if you are working out a lot, you're sweating a ton. So you need to drink a little bit more. And you'll kind of know, you'll feel it, what feels right for you, but just drink a little bit more. You're totally allowed to drink more than your goal. If you're like a rock star water drinker, go for it. Usually the concern isn't too much water, because lots of times people are dehydrated. So there's very rarely a time when we're going to come across someone who's saying, oh, I drink way too much water. Usually it's a matter of dehydration, which can cause like kidney stones and all these awful things. So it can really lack, if you find someone in your life who never drinks water, but they're like kind of foggy all the time, or really tired, or, just poor cognitive function, chances are they're dehydrated, and that's all they need is to get their body back up to normal, because we're made almost entirely of water. We need to replenish that source. As I go, unmute yourself if you have a question and want to stop me. Okay. Otherwise I'm just going to keep rolling. So if you forget to drink your water first, that's okay. If you catch yourself saying, oh shoot, I forgot, do it at that moment. Just do it at that moment and try and make it a habit. And I find that by actually using the words, like I'm constantly doing this to myself, like 2 bunnies, like water first, veggies most, and like track and scale. I try to like actually use that terminology quite often. And like Alex knows, like before we had supper tonight, we like had a chugging contest. We like cheers with our 16 ounces and we chug it. And that's like our thing before dinner, whether he likes it or not. And then he even said, he's like, I always feel so much more full. Like I feel like more satisfied when I have a belly full of water. And he's like my biggest skeptic. So for him to like admit that it actually is like true, it's pretty, pretty powerful stuff. And I find that people say like, oh, like I just pee too much. But I assure you that getting up and getting your steps in and peeing more isn't a bad thing. If it means that you have to pause your Grey's Anatomy to get up and go pee and get a couple steps in, that's okay. That's all right. It's a good way to get active and moving. It's really good for actually circulation by getting up regularly. If you have an office job or a desk job, think of it as like a little break. Everyone else gets to go have a smoke break. You can go have like 9 pee breaks in a day. So I think it's important to not get caught up on that. And I love the water bottle. I don't know if you guys notice, but I drink way more from our To Be Mindset water bottle, or a water bottle that has a straw, compared to one that doesn't. I drink way more water, and I don't really know why that is. If it's just like easier because I don't have to actually tilt it if I'm like next level lazy, but it just like works so well. And then kind of back to the veggies most principle. We kind of talked about that already, about, what 400 calories of veggies looks like in your stomach versus 400 calories of potato chips or Starburst or something like that. It's just a matter of volume, truly. You get full, you get satisfied. But the nice thing about filling up on all those veggies is it's really nurturing your body. It's, really fueling you, and it's low calorie. Never be worried about, am I eating too many veggies? No, you're good. You can eat as many veggies as you want. Be careful how you season them. Be careful how you sauce them up and accessorize them. Just be mindful of that. But truly, if you're like, I want to have the biggest salad known to man, I'm like really, really hungry tonight, go for it. Go for it. I'd rather you do that than have a small salad and you're not satisfied. And then in the evening, you're in the pantry looking for potato chips, right? Fill up on that big salad, those big vegetables. And you've heard Alana say in a lot of her recipe videos, especially the spaghetti squash one, where she shows you like, this is how many calories, of spaghetti you can have versus 5 cups of spaghetti squash for the same amount of calories. It's incredible. So by filling up on veggies, you don't have to feel guilty about that ever. And then if you find that you don't love veggies, that's okay. Lots of people don't love vegetables. But find one that you do love. Experiment. Go to the grocery store and look around and try something new. Try something different. Don't give up. If you don't love endive, which I don't love endive, I tried it. I gave it a good shot. I don't love it. I'm not going to have it again. But you know what I really do love? I love basic stuff. I like red bell peppers. I like mushrooms, and I like onions sauteed in taco seasoning, what we had tonight. It was so good and so filling and so satisfying. And it's something that I like. I don't feel pressured to find, really exotic vegetables and things. Find what's in season, because truly another thing that you can be worried about is vegetables are expensive. Don't think that you need to have, let's say, asparagus this time of year. Of course, asparagus this time of year is going to be expensive because it's not in season. So look in the frozen aisle. Frozen vegetables are processed in a way now that is so much better than they used to be. A lot of the nutrients is saved. There's some canned vegetables that are totally fine too, to have in your pantry on days that you're running short on time. But having a stock in your pantry and in your freezer of fresh vegetables for weeks that you just cannot get to the grocery store, then at least you know that you have them there. Steamed, I know now you can get like frozen beets. You can get, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, Brussels sprouts, anything you can get frozen. And it's just so easy to toss them on a cookie sheet, toss with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and roast them. And I feel like roasting is one of the best ways to get flavor out of vegetables, because if they're steam vegetables, I will not know. They taste like garbage to me. They taste like hot garbage. So I don't want them. But if they're roasted and have a bit of a color change to them, and they're, salted, or maybe have a little brown sugar on your carrots, then I'm totally down. Okay. Everyone's still with me? And just keep on rolling. Perfect. Okay. And lots of times people will find certain vegetables make them gassy. That's totally normal. Totally, totally normal. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, those sort of things naturally produce gas, especially when eaten raw. Try cooking them, or just switch to more basic foods, more like neutral food groups, or vegetables like bell peppers and mushrooms and things like that are a little bit easier on your stomach. I know for me, I love broccoli, but it hates me. I cannot eat broccoli, and I love it, but you just have to be mindful of that. So don't choose the vegetables that react with your stomach. Just like some of us choose not to have dairy because it reacts with our tummies, or whatever the case may be. But don't force that on yourself if you don't feel good when you eat them. And if you find you have family members that are like, well, I'm not going to eat that, like I can't eat vegetables, set the example for your family. Focus on yourself. You know what? If that means that you have to take several extra minutes and make up a separate dish so you have veggies, I do that all the time, you guys. I'll make a carb at night for Alex, and then I'll just have my veggies and my protein. And I'm so used to that. It's no problem at all, because truly I'm making, the three components. And then the nice thing is lots of times I'll use that FFC for my lunch tomorrow. I won't have it for supper, but I'll have it already prepped and good to go for lunch. So maybe you're going to roast some potatoes, or make some whole grain pasta, or you're going to, do some quinoa, whatever it may be. The nice thing is you can just use that for the next day. And I encourage you to try getting your kids to eat vegetables. And I know it's a hard thing to implement once they've got habits and they've got taste profiles and they've got preferences in place. But when the time comes, when they're really young and formative, you can try and implement those habits to try different vegetables and try them with dip, and have a really positive mindset around that experience for them. Talk about how sweet red bell peppers are and how yummy that dip is, or that hummus, or whatever it might be. Just having very positive verbiage around it. Because if there's one adult or one person in the home who's like, ugh, I don't like that, then immediately it's like ingrained in someone's head, and that's really hard. So try and be as positive about vegetables and about healthy eating and nutrition as you can. So the scale. And I was the type of person who, even in my business, would basically talk about the fact that I had no interest in the scale. I would say, screw the scale. It doesn't define me. And you're right. It doesn't define you, but it's a really good tool if you want to lose weight. How else would you know that you're losing weight or gaining weight? Oftentimes, and this is speaking from experience, if you have someone who's saying, or you're someone who's saying, I do not want to get on the scale, or I'm fearful of the scale, it's because they haven't gone on it for a long time and they don't want to see what it says. It freaks them out. They don't want to see what it says. And it's a really emotional experience because they don't know what it's going to say. So I say to you, what is the worst number that could be on there? What's scaring you? What is the worst number that you could see on there? 400 pounds, 500 pounds, what is it you're worried about seeing? And then oftentimes, you'll say, oh, well, like not that, like, no, not that high. Like, I'm just like worried about seeing it higher than, and I'll say, then what? When was the last time you weighed? What's the worst it could be? This is our baseline. This is our starting point. This is the beginning. So from here, we're totally capable of moving forward. We're entirely capable of losing 2 pounds at a time because that's all we're focused on. You might have a big goal of losing 100 pounds, and that's great. That's amazing. But that's not what we're worried about right now. We're focusing on 2 pounds at a time, no more than that. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that too. The scale is going to fluctuate week to week, regardless. You know, you're going to do really good. Some days you're going to eat something a little saltier and you're going to retain some water. Maybe you're on your menstrual cycle. You're going to retain some water. You know, us women have the most, I don't know, our bodies are very active throughout the month. We go through so many hormonal changes and imbalances, and it's incredible what we put up with. But it affects our weight as well. And it's certainly not going to fluctuate that high. But if you see a 1 pound, 2 pound spike during your menstrual cycle, that's totally normal. Just drink extra water, drink a ton of water. And if you feel like you're having, you know, maybe you've got vegetables at a restaurant, they really salt vegetables sometimes at restaurants. So just be careful. And same with steaks and things like that. Just make sure you're compensating with tons of water to flush that through so you don't see the scale spike as much. And one of the studies that I was reading today was showing how people that step on the scale every single day have greater weight loss results than those who don't at all. So obviously, if you're more cognitive and you're more, you know, aware of where you're at and what your behavior is resulting in, then you're way more likely to be successful. And also, it's proven to show that it'll help you keep the weight off. Because lots of times people do like an amazing diet or a transformation and they're looking at the scale and then they get to their goal weight and then they stop tracking and they stop stepping on the scale. And that kind of gets them off track because they're like, oh, because usually after a pound or two, you're like, oh, I need to start tracking again because I'm getting off track here and I can see it going up. Whereas you might not notice a progression of 6, 7, 8 pounds if you're not tracking, i.e. my honeymoon. I didn't feel like I was gaining 7 pounds. Didn't really feel like a huge difference. Maybe things were a little bit snugger and I felt a little fluffy when I got home. When I stepped on the scale, it was 7 pounds. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of honeymoon weight. And I got it off and it was fine. It took me a couple of weeks, but I got it off. But I think it's important to realize stepping on the scale every single morning is going to help you lose weight. It's a tool for your success. It is not a means of punishment. It's not to rub it in your face, but it's to show you, to prove to you, hey, you've been doing good and you're losing weight and it's working. Okay. And then, one of the things, one girl asked a question today about, she's a shift worker, she's a nurse, and she said, when do I step on the scale? Is it first thing in the morning? Because my shifts are all funny. You want to get on the scale after your biggest sleep in a day because your body has had a chance to digest and it's sitting and it's relaxed. So maybe they're sleeping from, 4 p.m. till 4 a.m. or whatever the case may be. Then you weigh yourself after you wake up from whatever sleep, whatever time of day that is for you. And then you adjust your meals accordingly. So after your biggest sleep is when you're going to have your breakfast portion, so your FFCs and your protein, and vice versa, so that you have the energy and endurance that you need throughout your work schedule. So it'll just be a little bit off, but you just basically, when you wake up, that's when your breakfast portions start. No matter what time of day it is, no matter, what shift work you do, just shift your meals around so that your breakfast, the FFCs and protein are the first thing that you eat. And then the other one here is only once a day step on the scale. You don't want to be obsessive about it. It's a tool. It's not something that's going to, like, if you're like, oh, it went up like 3 pounds in the afternoon and went back down and it changed. Just do it once at the same time every day, or else you'll drive yourself crazy, and that's not fun. But you want it to be consistent. So pick that one time in the morning after you've gone to the bathroom, you're undressed, use the scale, and then move on. And then sometimes if you're traveling, what you can do is see if your hotel has one. If you want to plan ahead, you can actually buy on Amazon smaller travel scales if you're going for a long period of time. Phone your friend if you're staying somewhere with friends or family, see if they have one you can borrow. Plan ahead. And it's so nice when you let people know in your life that you're on this journey, that you're actively trying to lose weight and get healthier. People are often very supportive of that. They're not going to be like against you. They're going to cheer you on and they're going to be in your section. And then when you're there, they're probably going to be more mindful of the foods that they have there for you or where you go for dinner. So I think having a friend in in your weight loss journey is going to be very helpful. And then a statistic that I found really interesting, people that track daily in some sort of journal or food tracker are 5 times more likely to lose weight. 5 times. Like, that's a lot. 5 times more likely to lose weight if you're actually tracking what's going into your mouth. So I thought that was really, really important. And you're tracking every meal, every bite, all the water. You're going to track your sleep, but you're also going to track things like, how did you feel after that meal? Were you feeling really overstuffed and like unwell, like you ate too much? Or did you feel unsatisfied? Did you feel like you were still hungry? Because by documenting those emotional responses to food, we can kind of gauge, maybe I didn't eat enough, or yeah, I totally knew I ate too much at this time. So track your emotional responses as well, and track how you're feeling, you know, cognitively. Oh, I'm feeling foggy today, or I'm just so exhausted. Tracking your bowel movements, tracking all these things, because if you have a week that's really good, it's interesting to go back and to see how well you've been doing and what's been working for you, and vice versa. If it's not working for you, then you can see where you went wrong. Okay. And if you're too busy to track, that's the one question or one thing people say, like, I'm just so busy. We all have giant purses. We all have backpacks. We all have diaper bags. We have places that this tracker can go. And if it can't go with you, you have a phone. You have the Beachbody Plus Nutrition app. You have the option to write it down in the notes on your phone. You have the, you know, a sticky note. Get detailed about it and get serious about it, because lots of people have serious weight loss goals. And lots of you guys I know on here have goals you really want to hit, and you got to take it seriously. And it starts with the tracking for sure. Okay. Next one was, oh yeah, drink it, ink it, nibble it, scribble it, and bite it, write it. So I'm going to start using those words a lot more often for sure. And also I find if you set a tracking reminder on your phone, if you're able to, really works. So set an alarm at, you know, around the time that you're going to have meals, and say track breakfast, track lunch, remember to track dinner, so that you get reminders. Because some people are just simply forgetful. And if you put a reminder on your phone, you'll be much better off. Okay. So one of the things, obviously vegetables fill you up. We get that. It's volume. They fill your belly, low calorie, great for weight loss. But it's also really important to realize that lots of times we associate like vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, and calcium with things like meat and dairy, and just realizing that we're actually getting a ton of that from our vegetable sources. For example, calcium. Broccoli is full of calcium. Spinach is full of iron. And one of the best sources of vitamin C available to us is red bell peppers. And I crush red bell peppers. So I'm very certain that my vitamin C count is quite high. And also vitamin A is great for like skin growth, hair growth, your nails, all that stuff. We get that from the vegetables that we eat. So it's not just about volume. It's truly about nourishing our bodies. And then sometimes people will ask, how do I know if it's a vegetable or an FFC? Like sometimes for squash or parsnips, things like that. And obviously we don't want you to track calories, but one way that you can figure it out, if you want to just Google something or look it up, if it's less than 50 calories per cup, it's probably a vegetable. If it's 50 calories or more, it's probably an FFC. So something like, for example, spaghetti squash is considered a vegetable because it's lower calorie, whereas butternut squash is closer in profile to a potato because it's much starchier, much higher in calories. So different squash can sometimes fall in different camps. So it's good to just Google it and just remember that below 50, above 50 rule for vegetables, and then you can figure it out. And then someone asked in the group, was it okay to eat carrots? Because some people, apparently, this isn't something that I knew, that they thought like carrots were bad for you because they're higher in sugar, but they're like really high in nutrients and vitamins and minerals. So, oh my gosh, like eat carrots all you want. They're really good for you, really satisfying too. And same thing with tomatoes. We consider them a vegetable and not a fruit because they're less than 50 calories per cup. And oftentimes most fruit is higher than that simply because of the fiber and the sugar and things like that. So then some examples, I guess, unless you guys had specific questions, but yeah, that was kind of the examples that I had for you. I'll keep moving here. So proteins, obviously, as we know, after watching the videos, which watch all of the videos, because we're able to see now the viewership of each video and where it like tapers off, and it does taper off. Y'all are watching like the first half of the videos and not watching the last half of the videos. And I promise you that there's so much good information even in the recipe videos. And the longer grocery shopping video is one of my favorite videos to refer people to. So if you haven't watched them, watch them all, and maybe you need to rewatch them, but there's so many good nuggets of information in there. So yeah, proteins, they keep you full, they keep you satisfied, and you need them if you're, doing any sort of training or trying to, get in shape and you're doing workouts. They break down into amino acids. So it's really, really good for us. And they say that if you are concerned about how much protein to have trackable proteins, because sometimes it's hard with ground chicken or stir fries to know how much we're getting unless you kind of like plan it out ahead of time. But typically 25%, so like a serving of protein would be about the size of your palm, or about a deck of cards. But if you can kind of palm that, that's about a serving of meat. Because I know sometimes we'll get steaks in a restaurant and they're massive. Usually go for the smaller size. That'll be a bit more appropriate for a portion. And obviously we need more protein in the morning to keep us full and sustained throughout the day. Really good trackable protein sources are like chicken on the bone, chicken thighs, that sort of thing, because you can say I had one chicken thigh or one chicken breast. Frozen fish fillets that are usually already pre-portioned into like 6-ounce portions, burger patties, eggs, that sort of thing. And lots of times people like protein bars or protein powder, but really be sure to look at the label, because oftentimes the protein might be high, but oftentimes the sugar is really high too. So I know like a Larabar, I used to eat Larabars like crazy, but if you look at the sugar content on a Larabar, it's out of this world. It's like more than the protein that's in there. So it's because it's all dates, right? So just be really careful about that. And then what time do you cut off your water at night? So, sorry, I just saw this now. So if you find that you're the type of person that's struggling with, getting up to the bathroom a lot, cut it off earlier and drink the bulk of your water earlier in the day. And then for me in the evening, I have to do the 2 hands on the wheel. I have a cup of tea in my hand because I'm like a reformed snacker, like nighttime snacker. I have to drink tea, and I'm already kind of used to getting up once a night to go pee anyways. But if you find that you struggle with that, drink the bulk of your water other than your 16 ounces before supper in the morning, or in the earlier part of the day. I feel like I need water right now. And then people will ask like, can this be modified to vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, plant-based diets? Yes, absolutely. And in the To Be Mindset video, she does address this. So if you look, there is like a vegan modification and that sort of thing. But truly, we're like one step away from being vegetarian with the To Be Mindset with the amount of vegetables that we eat. So we're pretty darn close. And then the other thing was the carbohydrates. We need to eat them. A lot of people will think like, oh, I'm going to save them. I used to do this with an older, like portion control program. I would save them up for dinner so I could have a big bowl of pasta. But then I wouldn't see like as much results. So the reason why we're eating that isn't for like satisfaction purposes. The reason you're eating carbs earlier in the day is because they provide you energy, and you need that energy to get you through your work day, to get you through a busy day, to get you through your workouts. You need to eat the carbs in the morning. Don't save them up for the end. That doesn't work. Don't swap them out. It's a science. It's made to work this way. There's a reason why you eat less vegetables in the morning and more in the evening. There's a reason for that. And I think it's really important that we just be mindful of that and follow that. And then fun fact, an apple and a slice of bread are more closely related than an apple and cucumbers as far as like the amount of like sugar and starches and fiber. So when people are like, oh, why can't I have as much fruit? It's like considered like it's very, it's carbohydrate high and it has, fiber in it. It's more closely related to a piece of bread than it is to cucumber. So I know I'm Canadian and I'm sure the American Food Guide was no different, but it used to be fruits and vegetables were in like one compartment, right? It would be like eat like your X amount of servings of fruits and vegetables a day, which is fine and dandy. But if you're someone trying to lose weight and you're eating tons of fruit and it's high sugar, then you're not going to, even though it's a naturally occurring sugar, it's still affects your body and your, blood glucose levels and all of that the same way. Your body knows no different. It breaks it down to the molecular level anyways. And then some people will say, like, if I don't feel like eating a carbohydrate or an FFC, do I have to? What I'm going to say to you is track it and see what works for you. If you don't feel like you need that, you have like a really delicious salad at lunchtime and you're satisfied, then go ahead. You don't need to use it. But if you find that in the afternoon that you're feeling sluggish and tired and maybe a little irritable, track it, write it down so that you know for the future that, I don't think I'm going to skip my morning carbs because I just felt really hungry and snacky in the afternoon. It just didn't work for me. So that's why that tracker is so integral, and it should be a really big part of your journey. And then sometimes, if you think, do I need to eat more carbohydrates if I'm working out or nursing? Because there's, a misconception that you need to eat more carbohydrates. And Alana put this in a really interesting way. She's like, when you're working out or when you're nursing, you're outputting fluid. How does bread help me make more milk? How does oatmeal help me make more milk? It doesn't. I need more water. What you need is more water if you're drinking, if you're working out, because our workout's truly less than an hour of exercise a day. And then we're pretty well dormant, or, maybe you're a very active person, but if you're working a desk job or something, you truly don't need extra fuel. And if you do, have a vegetable snack instead, because truly that's not going to fuel you for your workout as much as protein and vegetables will. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. You guys good? Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then accessories. Obviously, one of our favorites. You have your freebies like your lemon, your water enhancers, your hot sauces and salsa and mustard. Those are all great. And use them. If you feel like you're bored or your food lacks flavor, accessorize. Go crazy. Try something different. I'm always on the hunt for a new salad dressing and new ways to season my food. Healthy fats like avocado, chia seeds, olive oil, coconut oil. They're essential fatty acids. They're great for our brain. They're great for our whole body. So really good using those to accessorize your food. And don't feel freaked out about, I remember I used to feel so guilty about like adding avocado into my salads and be like, oh, this is like a fat, but it's a healthy fat. It's really good for you and you need it. And then bottled dressings, really the biggest thing for any sort of sauce or condiment. Just avoid high fructose corn syrup, which is basically ketchup. So just like try and avoid anything with high fructose corn syrup, or just use the diluting technique to make any creamy dressing a little thinner. So add a little lemon juice or lime juice or a little bit of water in a little bowl with your favorite dressing and thin it out a little bit, and then pour it over your salad, and it'll last a lot longer and go way farther. Okay. Any questions so far? How we doing? Okay, it's about 40 minutes we've been going. I'm going to go for another like 5 or 10, and then I'll open it up for some questions. Okay. So basically, this is all about keeping it simple, keeping it easy, not overcomplicating it. Because when you overcomplicate this, you struggle. It will be hard. But if you always feel prepared, be stocked, make sure that you go to the grocery store occasionally. And, I have to go, even with just the two of us, I go a few times a week just because I like getting things fresh. I hate when things go bad in my fridge. It drives me absolutely nuts. So I would much rather think of a recipe that I want to do and then just pop over to the grocery store really quick. And it's nice because I never feel like I really need a grocery cart. Obviously it's just two of us, but I take one of those big tote bags and I just fill it up, and then that's good for that day. Then I have less food waste as well. Prepping and chopping and washing your vegetables ahead of time, making to-go baggies or little containers so that you can grab and go. Finding things that are single serve are going to keep you on track, because it's way easier for me to control myself with little single serve little cheeses. Like the Laughing Cow cheese is one of my favorite snacks. They're really high in protein, but it's good because they come in single serving packets, and I know that I'm not going to eat half a block of cheese, because if I'm just left with a block of cheese, I'm going to do some damage to that thing. So, but if it's pre-portioned and all laid out for me, then I'm good to go. And then the other thing is just having backup. So water bottles. I know sometimes it's hard to find a place to refill your water bottle, if you're on the go. I recommend having a backup in your car or in your bag with you at all times so that you can fill your water bottle, that you're good to go, and then you don't have an excuse. And even at the restaurants, get them to bring you your water. I often actually ask for not ice water because it's hard for me. I have really sensitive teeth from whitening that I can't like chug cold water. So I was like, oh, I'll just have like room temperature water, please. And they always look at me funny. But if you make requests at a restaurant, they're usually very accommodating. And fun fact, we went to, I think it was the Keg actually, and I ordered a salmon dish, and it came with vegetables and mashed potatoes. But I actually asked them if they make, I remember one time they had like a cauliflower puree instead of mashed potatoes, and it wasn't on the menu. But I said, do you guys still make that? And she's like, oh yeah, we do. So I got veggies, like roasted veggies and cauliflower puree, and my salmon, and it was so delicious. It was really, really good. But I had to ask questions. So don't feel ashamed or nervous to talk to your servers at restaurants, because I don't want to be deprived of date nights. I don't want to not go out to a restaurant, but you have to get just a little bold when you go and just ask some questions, make the server your friend, and really figure out, what can I eat? What can't I eat? I bet you any restaurant has a protein and a vegetable they can serve you. And it doesn't have to just be in a salad, right? I often ask, can I have like a 6-ounce steak or an 8-ounce steak and like your seasonal roast vegetables? And I'll get a double order of the veggies. That's never an issue. It's never an issue. And I find that the more that I do that, the more free I feel to like actually go to places like this, and even fast food places. Fun fact, you can get almost any restaurant to lettuce wrap a burger for you. You can go to, if you're on the road and you go to like, let's say A&W, which is one of my favorite burger places, I can get a burger wrapped in lettuce. And then I will have in my bag, because I'll know if I'm on the road, I know if I'm going to treat myself to A&W, to a burger. So I'll probably have a little baggie of like cherry tomatoes and carrots as well, so that I have that with my supper when I go. And then I'll have a big thing of water, and maybe I'll grab a coffee there too, so I don't feel tempted by like onion rings and French fries. And then I feel so satisfied, and I'm so proud of myself when I leave. I'm like, I am a nutrition queen. Like, I'm very good at this. So just know that you can have control, and it feels really, really good to make those decisions. Because you know how many people, like I was at a food court once when the Beyond Burger from A&W came out, and it's like a meatless burger. And I was with my nephew, and I had it lettuce wrapped, and this girl came up, she's like, excuse me, like, where did you get that? I'm like, well, it's A&W. She's like, well, did you just ask for it to not have a bun? I'm like, well, I just asked for it to be wrapped in lettuce. She's like, that's amazing. I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, yeah, like A&W, McDonald's, like any burger place will do that for you. They all have lettuce, and like they're saving money because they're not using a bun, so they don't care. Some places might charge you 25 cents more, which is crazy, but they might charge you like 25 cents for lettuce wrap. But you can get almost like any salad. You can go to, fast food places and make it work for you. It doesn't have to be restrictive, but you do have to change your mindset, and you have to try. You can't just give in and be like, well, I'm at A&W anyways, I might as well get French fries. Like, you can't get a lettuce wrap burger and then get French fries too, because then you're kind of like, okay, come on. Like, sure, it's great you made one good decision, but you can stay on track. You can do it. I know that you can. So that is kind of my spiel for tonight that I had. I wanted to just cover all the bases of 2B Mindset, really refresh you and remind you that even if you feel like you've fallen off the rails, cool, let's forget about that. Let's put that behind us. Right now, I think it's really important that we get back on track and focus on what you want. Remember when we did that visualization, how you felt in that dress, how you felt in that outfit, how you felt looking down at the body you worked so hard for. Remember that feeling and remember that mindset, because nothing feels better than hitting a goal like that. And it's totally within our realm. It is totally within our reach to achieve that. And by telling yourself that you can't because you've been curvy your whole life, that I'm big boned. And those are things I told myself for years, that I'm just a bigger girl. I am curvy. I've always had a big bum. I've always had thick thighs. I'll never be able to lose weight. And I'm okay with that. But I wasn't okay with that, because when my doctor told me I was obese, overweight at, I guess it was 2014, however old I was in 2014, when my doctor told me I was overweight, I was upset at him. I was mad at him. The nerve this man had to tell me that I was overweight. And then I went home, had a little cry, and then I thought about it. I'm like, he's a medical professional. The BMI index is something I could Google. I could find out if I was overweight or, according to the BMI, if I just Googled it. He had no personal vested interest in telling me I was overweight. He wasn't doing it to shame me. He was telling me because my blood work, he said, you're young. It doesn't reflect your blood work yet, but it will if you keep this up. Your blood work will show it. You may need insulin one day. You might have blood pressure problems. There's a list of things that are caused by obesity. And did you know that 1 in 3 Americans are obese? Not just overweight, obese. That's what, over 30% of Americans are obese. And this is also kind of an interesting fact. 1 in 3 Americans also is sleep deprived. They say that sleep and weight loss are directly correlated. And that if you're not getting 7 hours, you are more likely to not be able to lose weight or to gain weight. So sleep and weight loss are also intertwined. But I just couldn't believe it when they said that 1/3 of Americans are obese. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And, there's nothing wrong with embracing your body and being happy where you are. But I do have an issue with you being unhealthy. Don't be comfortable being unhealthy. I embrace my cellulite. I embrace my curves. I am who I am. My body shape is my body shape, but I want to be the best version of me so that I'm here for a long time. Because I know that obesity is linked to, name it, it's linked to it. It's linked to cancer. It's linked to stroke. It's linked to heart disease. It's linked to, all these other things. There's a reason why a lot of people are sick and a lot of people are obese. There's a direct correlation. And I'm excited because 2B Mindset provides us an option for those of us that thought there wasn't one, that it was, all or nothing. I had to eat celery and, crap like that and food that I didn't love in order to be skinny. But in reality, you can eat all the foods you love and get healthy. It's just a matter of being mindful and keeping, tabs on it. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Any success stories that people want to talk about? Any weight lost? Any mindsets changed?
I think this is the most vegetables I've ever ate in my life since I started 2B Mindset. I definitely didn't eat enough vegetables before, so that's been good. And it's made me be more consistent with my weight because before I used to commit to a Beachbody program, do the diet like 100%, and then after it was over, I would just do whatever, and then I'd gain all the weight back usually. So this has really like kept me pretty level. When I travel, I'll go up a couple pounds, but then in like 2 days, I'll be back to like that same weight. So I love the consistency, and I love that when I travel, I don't feel bad because I know exactly how to get right back on it without it being like, okay, I need to meal prep and like get overwhelmed and have this super elaborate plan. Like 2B Mindset is so capable for anyone out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice because she teaches us to have this mindset of control. Like Dinteo, if you guys are familiar, if you've watched her videos, means, do I need this eating opportunity? And now that's something that I actually ask myself all the time. Is it worth it to me? For me, if my mom made my absolute favorite cookie, is it worth it to me to have it? Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to talk to people. I'm going to enjoy every bite, and I'm going to just I'm going to savor it. I'm going to think about the flavors and the textures, and I'm going to fully, with my whole body, enjoy that cookie. But if it's something that I'm like, no, that's good. I'm good. I don't need that eating opportunity. Thank you, but no thank you. And there's so much power in that. And I found that so liberating to be like, you know what, actually, like, that's not my favorite dessert. Sure, it's sweet and it's probably going to make a receptor in my brain go off the same like cocaine would, but I don't need that eating opportunity, and I'm okay. I'm totally okay, and I'm in control. So Alex said she's rolling into 37 pounds lost since May. I find it hard to explain the impact 2B has had on my life because it changed everything, including my outlook on all aspects of my life. That is unreal. Like 37 pounds. Congratulations. Like, that's amazing. How freeing must that feel? And now if you were to go pick up like a 40-pound weight and think to yourself, I was carrying that around with me, this whole time. It was carrying that. So to be free of that, congratulations. That's phenomenal. Okay.
Kirsten, how do you, if you're like doing, say, Lift 4 and you're doing Shakeology and Recover, how are you incorporating both of those into your morning, if that's a morning thing?
So typically for me, I have Shakeology for breakfast just because I'm with working out in the morning, and especially if I work, I have to get out the door. So what I usually do is I have my smoothie, my Shakeology, which is full of protein and actually does have some fiber in it as well already, but I'll usually add half a banana, and I'll also sometimes have a piece of toast too, because at lunch sometimes I'll only have like a beach bar or something, and I count that as my FFC at lunchtime if I have a big salad or something. But yeah, I would just not worry so much about the performance line. Use it as you need it, because it's not going to make a huge impact. So I would keep using that as normal after workouts whenever you do that. And then for Shakeology, I would just count it as your protein whenever throughout the day. And maybe that's going to be a good snack in the afternoon. It's a great snack option in the afternoon. Because she always says you want a high vegetable, high protein snack when you do have a snack. So whether that be red bell peppers and one of those like Laughing Cow cheeses, that's great. But also Shakeology is a really good option too. Even though it does have some fiber, it's full of vegetables and it's full of protein. Anyone else? Well, thank you guys. I kept you here for a full hour. Oh my gosh. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to share the link in the groups as well. And I'm excited to keep learning about 2B Mindset and also, inspiring people to take control and do it themselves. And I think one of the best things that has happened for me is by taking this course and by being a coach, it holds me accountable, because I feel like I have an incentive to help you guys. And I want to, be a good role model and a good leader. So that means that I have to stay on track. So I can't ever quit, because it keeps me accountable. So I'm not going anywhere. Okay, guys, have a wonderful night, and I'll share the recording. Thanks so much for spending your night with me. See you guys.